I would like to ask you, do you feel that there are different generation? Of course, it's very advanced young players all over the world are now coming, and the technical level grew enormously over the years. And you've been teaching for a long time. You've been working with young kids for such a long time. Do you feel what is really changing? What are the advantages of new generation? What are the shortcomings? What do you think it needs to be still educated, and what are the important aspects one from the younger generation still needs to try to inherit from the older players?
Yeah. Well, what's your what do you think after listening to all these incredible videos? They want to.
The level is simply not to be believed. It's so high. People play so well, so beautifully. They also run beautifully. They run faster, and they hit the tennis ball faster and harder, and hit the baseball harder and faster. And everybody is better than it was. However, having said that, I go to the concert hall and I sit down and I wait to be moved. I want to cry. Make me cry. That's the point of the exercise. And when it comes to that, it's very rare that you hear that.
So in a sense, nothing has changed.
Yeah, nothing is there. Once in a very great while, you hear the child who has the ability to move us all. And then there's the question of, can the child survive adolescence? How does it work?
Yeah, you have so many kids who are amazing at the age of 11 or 12, and then both Toby and I, we listen to them and says, okay, I want to hear that again in 5 years, in 6 years, and see what happens.
Now, Miss DeLay had a very strong point of view about how to teach the greatly gifted child. She believed that the bigger the gift, the less she should say in the lesson. And the tremendous talent, you just put a little water on it, and put it out in the sun, and it will bloom, and you don't say much at all. Now, I don't know, I certainly don't disagree with her. I don't know if I agree or I don't, but that was she felt very strongly about that she would let the student find his or her own way.
And she also believed, which I don't know if I agree or disagree, in some points I disagree, she believed you could teach anything to anybody, anything. And so we were talking about, how do you teach, what comes from here? And she thought you could. And I don't know if I agree with that, because she was such an enthusiastic pedagogue that she thought everything is teachable if you know how to do it. It was interesting.
Yes, it's very interesting. But when we listen to some of the old recordings, when we hear Heifetz, we hear Milstein, we hear Isaac Stern, we hear Casals, we hear Pavarotti, we hear Itzhak Perlman, Pinchas Zukerman. It takes 2 seconds to tell, I know who's playing. Do you think we will have this kind of generation of voices that we can recognize those inner voices, how they breathe, how they sound?
I don't know. That's a very good question.
I think the possibility is certainly there. I think it's there. I hear every once in a while, I hear one of these kids and I'm so moved. It's just, as I said before, it has to do with adolescence and can they make it through, and can they withstand?
Can they survive?
Can they withstand the pressure?
Yeah, there's lots of pressure. And how do you advise some of your students to focus on the path to develop the right tools in order to find their own own way to express themselves in I mean, it's very challenging career now. There's so many great players. It's very competitive, and it's important to find your own voice, and it's important to enjoy what we do.
Well, I don't think that career right now is the same that it was 40 years ago, right? It's you know, and I say to the kids, you got to use your imagination as to what you want to do in music, because a career, it was a simpler thing, a career. Like,
I don't agree with
no?
you. The kid the artist will, it will just, everybody knows. Now, I can't think of anybody offhand, but I mean, I listened this morning to Horowitz play a Chopin, what, the Black Key Etude. You know, it was just fantastic. I couldn't breathe. It was so wonderful. You know, now I'm not saying we're going to get another Horowitz. I'm just saying that when you hear that, it is universal. We all have the same response.
That's true, but can the kids, you know, can you have an individual, another individual,
Yes.
so that you can say, like you're saying, you know,
Yes.
will I be able to recognize somebody again? Like I always say that, you know, I mean, when you think about the people that you mentioned, also Oistrakh, Francescatti, Chrysler, so on, all totally different. And I have a feeling that it may be that the presence of the internet and the idea that anybody can hear what a lot of people listen to, people who are playing today, you know, the people who are performing right now, they don't listen to, that's why I'm doing this at the Perlman Music Program. That's why, because I feel that listening to old recordings of Heifetz and Chrysler and you know, Casals and Feuermann and so on, and Piatigorsky is like learning history, because we all, you know, the way we're playing, it's a part of history. You know, that's where we came from. And you know, it's not good enough to listen to the people who are playing right now, because as a result, what happens is that, you know, the style is affected. One of my favorite examples is if you listen to early recordings, really early recording of Heifetz, he does not sound like Heifetz. He sounds more like Chrysler. He sounds, you know, there's a softness, you know, he has not yet developed the style of Heifetz. Why? It's because that's what he was hearing all the time. So right now, the kids, all they hear about is all the people that they can reach on the internet, you know, all the very talented people who are playing, and the style today is different. And so everybody doesn't, you know, they think that, you know, if I do a slide or something like that, I'm old fashioned. I don't know.